Hello, Miss Laura. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. So I did really well. I didn't say where we're going today, but if you can just tell us a little bit about who you are, what university you're representing today, where you studied abroad, and tell us why you chose that program location. Just take the floor.
Yes. So, hi everyone. My name is Laura, and I'm an AIFS Alumni Ambassador. I'm currently a senior at the University of California, Irvine, majoring in business administration. And in the fall semester of 2018, I studied abroad in Barcelona, Spain.
Excellent.
And I actually picked Barcelona because I knew I wanted to study in Spain because I took AP Spanish in high school. So I was like, I'm not 100% like familiar with the Spanish language, but at least this will give me an excuse to actually practice it. So I knew I wanted to go to Spain, and then just comparing different programs, I realized that the Barcelona program was perfect for me and had classes I needed. I love the excursions. So I was like, let me just do this. This is perfect.
Perfect. Awesome. Great reasons. We do have more than one program in Barcelona. Can you tell us which university you ended up deciding on?
Yes, so I went to Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona.
Excellent.
So it was the business program.
Your accent is like fabulous. I'm just blown away. Very cool. And let me think here. You went in which semester?
Fall semester of 2018.
Excellent. You are our first, your first fall semester that we have as a guest, and also first guest that was not 2019 or 2020. So this is kind of exciting. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about, there's so many classes you can take at UAB. I'm trying to think of the list of how many there are. There's probably over 60 on our list. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the courses you took? Did you have a favorite? Was there one that was more challenging than the rest? All of those pieces and parts.
Yes, so I took 5 courses for a total of 15 credits, which actually went really well for me because I come from a quarter system. So everything here is a lot faster, and so I do less credits each quarter. So I actually came back with 20 credits, which is like so many. So that was really nice. I actually get to graduate early now because of it. So that's really cool. And then in general, coming from a very big school, I was used to having like over 200 people in my classes. So in Barcelona, it was completely the opposite. Like my classes had max 20 to 30 people. So I really liked that because we just got to have really like nice connections with both the students and the professor, which I necessarily never really have at my school back home because there's so many people. It would take years to meet them all. So I really like that aspect. And then class-wise, I took all business classes except for one. I took a digital photography class, which probably is my favorite because it was so fun. Honestly, we just, for each assignment, we met in like different areas of the city to take pictures. So it was like field trips, and it was so fun. And like, I love that class. We made postcards. It was just really fun. Other than that, a more like academic class, maybe I would say I really liked my international management class. That one was so fun because it was also very hands-on. Since we were such a small class, we would often actually go to like this park nearby the school and like practice like team development exercises and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is so fun. Like she'd be like, let's go on a field trip. I'd be like, okay.
It hardly feels
So
like school with all the field trips that you're going on. Very cool.
Yeah, I was like, we're always somewhere else.
Yeah, and you kind of get to see the city with a local, right? Because your professors and your staff are accompanying you. Did you find all the times that you were kind of like running around doing these field trips that were class related, not just fun and games, did you find like a neighborhood or a niche within Barcelona that you really gravitated towards, or one that you visit in a heartbeat?
Let's see. It's hard to pick because honestly, I would go anywhere in Barcelona and be so happy. But I'll just say the like very center, the Gothic Quarter, just has a special part in my heart because we used to always go there after classes, and it's just so beautiful. The architecture there is so unique and famous to Barcelona. So definitely probably just the Gothic Quarter. It's the most cliche, but I really liked it.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's one worth being mentioned. There's a reason it's cliche or you know, well known. Did you have a lot of assignments within the Gothic Quarter for your photography classes, or not so much?
I think we had one. We tended to just move around like various areas of the city. So I think we did have one in the very center, but we would change all the time. So we got to see a lot of nice places.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a good way to see the city. And again, it is all pertinent to the educational experience. So very, very cool. Can you tell me a little bit about, we talked about relationships with your professors and your staff, and it's very close knit. Tell me a little bit about your classmates, friendships you made. Maybe you befriended a local, anything along those lines, those relationships, and how have they evolved since you've repatriated home?
Yes, so one really cool thing about the university I was studying at is that it's an international school. So there's not only American students there, but there were students from Germany, Egypt, China, Mexico. Like everyone came from a different place. There's like, I was ready to meet Spanish people, but then I was presented with all these different people and I was like, this is so cool. So I got to learn a lot about different cultures and I really like that. And so it's cool now to say like, oh, like I have a friend there or there. And it's really cool. And yeah, I was actually, that was one of the things I was kind of most scared going abroad because I left knowing literally no one. So like no one from my university was on my program. Like I knew no one. So I was like, I'm very scared. Am I gonna go there? Am I just gonna not have friends? Like that would be really sad. But one thing I did do was the flight package, the AIFS flight package. So I really liked that because we did the 3-day stay in London, got to see London, got to meet one of my roommates. So that was really cool to even meet her before going to Barcelona. So that was really nice. And then upon arrival to Barcelona, it was so much easier to make friends because I feel like we all kind of felt like, oh my God, we're so far from home. Like, are we going to meet people? And so we all just kind of were each other's company. And so I think that was really great and ended up my fear was not necessary.
Yeah, I love when I talk to you guys, you know, oh, I was afraid of this, and then it was like very easily subsided as soon as I kind of just jumped into it. You don't even realize that you had fears at some point because it's just, it all kind of comes into place. Would you say that like, are you normally a super social person, or does it take you a little time to come out of your shell? And how does the experience of study abroad kind of lend itself to the opposition there?
I would say like half and half. There's like certain situations where I'm like, oh, I can't stop talking to people. And then other situations where I'm like, I'm going to like hold back. So, but definitely going abroad, I feel like I definitely got over like talking to complete strangers because they're like, as I mentioned, like everyone was a complete stranger to me. So, I think it was nice just to think like in each of my classes, I was like, oh, I've never met any of these people before. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go up and say hi to people and like make friends because I don't want to like sit in the back and like not talk to anyone and feel lonely. So I feel like now I'm much less scared to do that like more regularly, whereas before I'd be like, you know what? I'll try another day. Like, I don't want to do this right now, but like now I'm like, it's fine. Like at least like they'll say hello back. Like who doesn't?
Exactly. Like when you're studying abroad, most of the time, a lot of the students are kind of in the same boat. I mean, some people go with a friend, some go completely alone, but whichever, you know, track it is, it kind of like lends yourself to, okay, I want to branch out. I want to experience new people, new things, what have you. Do you feel like that's, you've kind of adapted that like practice now that you're home, like you're just gonna talk to strangers a little bit more easily? Yeah.
Definitely. Like now, especially if I see people who are like, you know, like they seem nice, like I want to be their friend, I'm like, I should go be their friend. And so I go talk to them and like, oh, like we're gonna go do this. And so I feel like that really helped me, like just going abroad, because now I'm like not as scared to do that, and
a little more outgoing.
That definitely is a great
Worst thing that's gonna happen is they're not going to reciprocate and move on to the next. Very good. Excellent.
Exactly.
I heard you say something about roommates. So can you tell us a little bit about what housing you decided on? Do you like your housing? A little bit about your roommate situation, all that jazz.
Yes, so I actually went abroad pretty early compared to the norm, I feel. I feel like a lot of people go their third year of college, but I went my second. So I chose apartment stay, and that was actually the first apartment I'd ever like lived in like solo. Like I went from the dorms to an apartment in Barcelona, so that was really cool. And I lived in the apartment with 5 other girls, so there were 6 of us total, and I had a double room, and the apartment was really nice. We were located on the same street as one of our campuses, and then there was like a bus stop right next to our apartment, and then there was a metro stop just like down the street. We actually lived 3 streets away from the 𝗟𝗧𝗦𝗧, which is so cool. Like
That
this
is
huge
cool.
historic monument. Oh, I have a funny story. Like a couple weeks into our program, we hear someone knock at our door, and we're like, who is this? And like one of my roommates sent me, because I was the only one in the house that could kind of speak Spanish at that moment. So she was like, go see who it is. And I was like, okay. Like, and I opened, and there's this old little lady, and she's so cute, and she's like, here, like this is the key to the roof, and she's like, just use it to hang your clothes. And we were like, to the roof? So we were like running up the stairs, and we get to the last floor, we unlock the door, and there was literally this full on like roof balcony with 360-degree views of Barcelona, with like the 𝗟𝗧𝗦𝗧 right there. Oh my god, it was so nice. Like we would always go up there and just watch the sunset. It was like, we definitely didn't use it to hang clothes. Like, I'm so sorry to the old lady, but it was just a viewpoint, so we had to take advantage of it. It's so beautiful.
Take some towels and some t-shirts, make it look like you're hanging some clothes, and then just kind of enjoy the view. Very awesome. Yeah, I love that. It's kind of a hidden surprise with the housing sometimes, is you might have some of these rooftop views. You don't know if the apartment's going to be right next to a historical landmark. I mean, there's just some really cool opportunities with that. And you shared one room with the 5 of you, or kind of broken down into a suite? Can you just kind of lay that out for us?
Oh, yes. So it was an apartment with a total of 4 bedrooms. So 4 of us had doubles. So I was in one of the double rooms, and then 2 of my roommates had single rooms. And then we had 2 bathrooms. So we kind of just like split it in half. 3 of us used one and 3 of us used the other. And then we shared our kitchen. We had a washer, and then like a living room, and then a little balcony too, which we used to take pictures off of.
We're all going to have to go to your page after and just look at all the rooftop views, the balcony pictures. Excellent. Yeah, and your apartment does come with all the amenities, laundry, all that jazz. And it's kind of nice that there's 5 of you, but there's 2 bathrooms. You know, that's like a good, almost even split
that was
between
definitely
everything.
Nice. We also had someone who came and cleaned the apartment every other week. So that was so nice, because like it was 6 girls there, so like sometimes it was pretty messy, but she came and she cleaned everything, and I was like, this is so nice. Like, wow.
Excellent. Very convenient. Very cool. I heard you say something about public transportation. So there is a metro system in Barcelona. Can you tell me a little bit about how clean it is? Like, is it pretty accessible? Did you find you were using it quite often? Just tell us a little bit about your use with the public transportation.
Yes, so in Barcelona, this may be kind of biased, but they have like the best public transportation ever. Like I had heard, I don't know, I could be fact checked on this, but I'm not sure. Someone told me once that Barcelona's like grid metro system, it was actually like one of the first in Europe, and like all the other countries kind of modeled theirs after Barcelona. And like, I believe it, because it's so efficient. It brings you everywhere. Like I use the metro like at least like probably like 4 times a day, like either the bus or the metro. We did have 2 campuses, so one of them was, like I mentioned, on the same road as my apartment, so I just walked there, but the other one was across the city, so it was super easy. Like I had like 3 or 4 different types of like bus routes I could use to go there, or like 2 different like metro lines I could use. So like honestly, I never was like, oh my god, how am I gonna get there? Because like Google Maps, Barcelona's amazing, efficient metro, and I could go wherever I wanted.
Excellent. I was just Googling, I was listening, but I was Googling while you were talking. The first subway system or metro system was actually Budapest, Hungary, and then a few Asian countries, but Spain is pretty high up on that list to adapt it.
Okay,
next.
yeah.
So,
I think they may have been the first grid version of it.
Possibly.
To like make it super efficient. I think that was the one. But yeah, so I really like I never had issues with getting anywhere. So that was nice.
Excellent. Very good. Would you find yourself using the bus system more or the metro system more? Which one did you find more convenience in?
Probably the metro, just because the metro usually would go by every like 5 or 6 minutes, and sometimes the buses had a little bit longer wait time, and so the metro was the most convenient because there's so many stops and it goes by so often that we wouldn't even check like how long is the metro coming by, because like there would always be one. If anything, you wait a couple minutes.
Right. Pretty prompt. Excellent. And you said one of your university class settings was on the same street as your apartment. Did I hear you say that as well?
Yes. So one of them was on the same street, so I would just walk there.
Excellent. Yeah, I was going to say, this would be like Barcelona. Take advantage of the sites and whatnot, and definitely opt outside, opt to walk. You went in the fall semester, so weather fairly cold. Can you tell us a little bit about what fall looks like in Barcelona?
Yes. So I started school on like the 4th of September, beginning September. So I would say it was still like summer temperatures. Like I was wearing like dresses and like shorts and stuff till probably, I'd say all of September. And then after that, like started wearing like cardigans and stuff. And then I would say it got like, I'm from California, so my like winter is like people's fall. Like I've never experienced a winter in California, so there it rained more often than what I was used to. And then I actually did end up having to buy like a bigger like jacket because I honestly just did not own one at home, and I was like, I'm not bringing something, so I ended up buying a thicker jacket for the months of like end of November, December period. Plus, I traveled, so my family lives in Italy, so I traveled back and forth a lot. So I had to get the jacket to go to Italy because Italy during like the winter is really cold. So, but in Barcelona, I only used the like thick winter jacket, I would say in like very end of November to December. Okay.
We kind of jumped right into this question accidentally, but we're talking about clothes, shopping, whatnot. I have the P word, right? Packing. How was that experience pre-departure? Like, did you feel like you brought everything you needed? Did you feel prepared? Were there things you wish you left at home? Were there things you wish you brought with you that you hadn't brought? Anything of that nature?
So for packing, I think one of the biggest concerns is always overpacking. I tend to overpack so much. Like I'll say like, maybe I should bring this shirt, or maybe I should bring all 5 of these, because you never know. And I'm always the all 5 of these girl. So that always is a problem. But I tried to hold myself back, and I would say I ended up overpacking. So it's good that my parents came to visit me so that they could take like a lot of my stuff back home. Because if not, probably would have had to buy another suitcase, which a lot of people on my program did. Like some people even had to buy like 2 extra suitcases just because they had bought so much stuff there. So definitely if I went back, I would be like, I need like 4 shirts, like total, like 4 pairs of jeans, and just like really been minimal about it, because once you're there, like you end up getting souvenirs and like anything, like, so it's just, overpacking is definitely a struggle for me.
Do you feel like you shopped for a lot of apparel and clothing to the point where like you really didn't need to bring as much clothes as you originally did?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I ended up like finding a lot of stuff, and I was like, I'll just buy this, like one thing won't hurt, and then one thing after 20 times is like too much, and then you have to somehow get it back to America. So
you're looking at your bank account and you're like, oh yeah, this is the euro, not the USD. Yeah, been there. Awesome. I mean, you'll have those regrets later, but you know, it's a once in a lifetime experience, and the shopping in Barcelona is really good. And then there's like markets on top of just like your shopping malls and like stores and things like that. There's a lot of like handmade, hand artisan type things. So very cool. We did get a question. It said, what's the weather like in Barcelona during the fall? You kind of told us a little bit about this, but if you want to just reiterate, that's totally fine.
Yes. So I would say it's a normal fall, as you would say. So not too cold, not too hot, all the way through maybe end of November-ish. And then there it starts to rain a little more often and get like pretty cold, like thick jacket type of cold through like December.
Yeah, I like the way you're from California when you say a normal fall. Like your perception of it is like a little different. Very, very cool. Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about travel weekend trips. You said you went to Italy, your family's in Italy. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the AIFS excursions that you participated in? We do have a few for Barcelona, as well as just some fun week travels that you might have had on your own.
So for AIFS, I went on the day trip to 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗜𝗔𝗟, which was so cool. We basically went, like, in the beginning of the day, we went to the mountains and we like hiked a little bit, and then after we were at the beach and swimming, so it was really cool, like contrasted day. That's one of the things I love about Barcelona, is that the location is so nice, because like you get to enjoy the mountains, and then an hour later you can be on the beach, and then an hour later you're in the middle of a city, so it's like you get a lot of variety in the activities you can partake in. Another one of the trips is the Pyrenees trip, the weekend one. I went on that one. I really liked that, because we also visited a country I did not even know existed, which is a small little country. It is, I believe, I want to say 18th, but it may be the 17th smallest country in the world. And it's basically a little country between Spain and France. And it was so cool. It was like a big valley, and it was really cool.
What is the country?
Andorra.
Andorra. Let me see. You keep going. I'm going to look up what size Andorra is. It is the 17th smallest country.
So then, 17th, there we go. Yeah, and I didn't honestly even know it was a country like before. I'd never heard of Andorra, so I was like, that's cool. Like, I get to cross another country off my list that I never even knew about. Other than that, another type of, not necessarily an excursion, but one of the things I really loved about the AIFS like extracurriculars was the cooking class. So we got to go to this cooking class one day and basically learn how to make all our favorite Spanish dishes, and then we all ate them together, and it was so fun. I just love food, so I was like, cooking class, I'm there.
Have you seen these lives? I could go on about food all day. Absolutely.
And then also, I also really liked on Thanksgiving, since obviously Thanksgiving wasn't celebrated in Spain, AIFS had us have this whole dinner together. We had turkey and all like Thanksgiving food, and so that was so cute. And then also the flamenco show at the very end. If you're in Spain, go see a flamenco show, because they're so cool. Like, it was a lot more intense than I thought it could be. And like, these people are just dancing and sweat is going everywhere. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool.
Intense in the sense of the length of the show, just the things that they can physically do with their bodies. Like,
I would say like the things they could do. Like, I'd never even seen a flamenco show, so I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm literally going into it knowing nothing and like gonna be surprised, and wow, was I surprised. Like, they're so intense, and like they're like tippy tapping so fast that I was like, wow, this is very intense. I loved it. It was so cool.
A little different than our 1-2 step for sure.
Yes, definitely. And then just on the side, so I went back and forth to Italy like almost at least like once or twice a month, I would say, to see my family. And then we would like go around Italy together. So like Rome, we came to Bologna, which is funny because now I live here, so that's kind of crazy. But then I also went to, one of my favorite trips was to Paris. I actually flew to Paris for $60. That's right, $60. In California, to fly from SoCal, where I go to school, to NorCal, where I live, you know, not very exciting, it's $120. I went to Paris for $60. So traveling in Europe is so cheap. And that was like a flight. Like, I didn't do any bus trips, but some of my friends did bus trips, and those were even cheaper, like a bit longer time, obviously, but like traveling in Europe is just so much cheaper than in the US. So it was nice to be able to take advantage of that and, you know, feel very happy that I was spending half as much as I do to usually go home. But I literally visited Paris, one of the most beautiful cities ever. So it was very like easy to travel and cheap. And so I really love that.
Now rewind a second, because maybe I heard this wrong. You live in Bologna, Italy now.
Yes. So I'm like studying abroad. So like, yeah, so I'm basically just living here and taking classes in the US online. So it's very strange, but yeah.
No, not a bad place to quarantine, guys. Bologna is beautiful if you ever get the chance. So Cheers to that. Excellent. Yeah, it seems like you fit in so many countries and travels just inside of, how long was your program, roughly?
It's 5.5 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
5.5, around that time.
excellent. That's very cool. And yeah, Andorra, that is one of our excursions through AIFS. So it's not something a lot of students are like, I didn't even know this place existed. Like, so it's a pretty cool, unique trip. It takes you kind of out of Barcelona. Barcelona is pretty touristy. Not that that's a bad thing, but you'll definitely find a decent melting pot of all different kinds of cultures. You go to Andorra and it's like very, very local culture. So very cool. Let's see. Can you give us kind of you've done a little bit of this already, but just from morning to night, just a day in the life in Barcelona, including maybe if you did stay for a weekend and had, you know, a kind of a routine for your weekends. I imagine you're traveling for most of them. I would be as well. Versus just Monday through Friday class, waking up, after school activities. Just paint the picture for us.
So I actually only had classes from Monday to Thursday, so that was really nice because usually I would say Thursday, like night, afternoonish, I usually would take a flight and go somewhere and get to spend like a long weekend away. So during the week, I actually had like a lot of hours of classes, so it was really nice. Like I felt like at my college, I only went to class for maybe like 2 to 3 hours a day because I'm a business major and everyone makes fun that we're never in class, but it's fine. But there it's actually nice to have like longer days, and so I usually would go to class and then probably switch campuses to go to the other campus and go to another class. And then after that, honestly, me and my roommate every day would just go around Barcelona and like explore places. Way too often we would stop and get some tapas to eat because we have no self-control and tapas are so good. So that was definitely a casual, like an everyday routine for us. And then on the weekend, it honestly just depended on if I was in Barcelona, would just adventure there with my roommate again, or if I went anywhere, I would just be visiting those countries. So yeah,
I love that. We have no self-control and we just keep eating tapas. The beauty of tapas, though, is that they are kind of smaller dishes, so you don't feel quite as guilty, and then you can have quite a few more of them. So there's no harm, no foul. Do you have a favorite? You were talking about that cooking class, and I should have asked, but do you have a favorite tapas that you got to make in that cooking class that maybe you make now that you're no longer in Spain?
To make, I would probably say we each had our station, so we were each preparing something else, but we got to blaze, I'm assuming is the terminology, the tops of the 𝗟𝗧𝗦, which is the like sort of the Spanish equivalent to like a creme brulee, and like we got to torch, I think is the correct. We used a torch to like blaze the tops of the little cakes, and I think that was very fun. I was like, whoa, I feel like a real chef here.
So the sweet tooth, you like the desserts, basically.
Yeah, I like sweets.
Excellent. Yeah, same. It's a problem. But again, tapas, they're small. You can have multiple of them. Very good. So now it sounds like Spain was not your first trip to Europe, was it? Or
no, it wasn't. I would go to Italy every summer to visit my family, so I was very well, like I kind of knew the stores already and stuff, and yeah.
Very cool. And you're used to that, again, difference in currency, because it can be kind of a little bit of shock. Speaking of shock, I imagine you didn't have as much culture shock as probably the average person traveling back and forth to Europe so much, but did you have a moment where, you know, you're like, okay, yeah, no, I'm in Spain. It's hit me now.
I would say it hit me like pretty hard as soon as I got there. I think again, like going back to like my fears, I think it hit me that I was there like completely alone, because I was used to like going to Europe, so it wasn't necessarily the culture shock, but just the fact that I was like far from friends, far from family and stuff, that kind of was like, whoa, like I really am just out here by myself doing this. But then that lasted like 20 minutes, and then I walked outside and I was like, okay, but wow, like let's get over it, let's go meet people, let's have some fun, like let's go see beautiful places. So I wouldn't say I got hit with any sort of like culture shock there, but I definitely got hit by culture shock coming back. So like the first couple weeks back, I got back in January, so then literally, I think I spent 2 days at my like home and then had to go back to college to start classes. So I think that first like 2 weeks back in school, I was just a mess. I was just feeling so down, and I could not shut up. People were like probably telling each other like, don't ask her what she did because she is not going to stop talking. So I was telling everyone about my experience. I was like, you need to go do this, like, why
Hi,
are you
Laura's
not
coming.
applying
Yeah.
right now? And my friends were like, oh my god. So then I actually remember like my study abroad center at my university was hosting a welcome back breakfast for anyone who either was coming to study abroad at our school or like had just gotten back. So I was like, this is nice. Like, at least the people I talked to there about study abroad won't be overwhelmed because they've done it too. So it was nice. And I remember there I was talking to a girl and I was like telling her, I was like, I feel like I'm missing something, like I don't know. And she was like, oh, post-study abroad depression. I was like, that's what I'm feeling. And so I like talked to people and I was like, okay, I was like, I have to do something with this. So like I think a month or two later is when AIFS opened up alumni ambassador application. So I was like, oh my god, yes, like I would love to keep talking about this. Like I need to still stay connected. So I applied to that. I applied to be a peer advisor on my campus and I got to do that. So I'm very happy that I found a way to still like stay connected and like be able to talk about my experience, because I think if I hadn't done those things, I would have probably lost my mind. I would have been like, so I need to tell people about this. I need to get people to do this because it's so amazing. And like,
Excellent.
I'm like, why isn't not everyone doing this?
It's so hard to return back, and like that community of people that you've just spent 3, 4, however many months with are suddenly all dispersed again. You're not with them all the time. You can't really talk to people about this experience in a way where they're going to initially understand, and they might get a little bit wary of like, all right, Laura, like, it's okay, we get it, you had a great trip. Speaking of that, so you come home, you're trying to kind of explain to your friends, your family, maybe your classmates, this amazing experience. What are like the 3 biggest, not takeaways, I guess you could say takeaways, but 3 things that you always highlight about your experience that maybe you miss the most? Maybe it's a cultural difference between Spain and the US, maybe Spain and Italy. Like, what are those 3 things that you miss the most when you returned home? The food. Just kidding.
Yeah, the food is definitely in the top 3 because it's so good, and like the tapas are so small, you can get a bunch of them and eat them and combine them for the meal, so you get to mix it up every time. So the food is definitely in the top 3. I would also just say the like the ability that you can just go leave your house and like walk somewhere or take a metro and just get off at a random stop and like find all these cool places. Like back at home in California, like I cannot go anywhere if I do not have my car, if I do not have a GPS telling me where to go. Like it's just different. Like you can't just like leave your house and be like, oh, maybe I'll run into a new like monument today. So I definitely just miss that, just being able to go out and explore. And then I would also say like the cultural immersion I had at that school, I definitely really miss, because it was just so cool to like be in classes with so many different people and like exchange stories, especially about like how schooling works in different like countries. I never really knew like how different it was until I like like people in Germany, like how they work like a couple of months full time and then they go back to school for a couple of months, and I was like, that's awesome. And like how some countries like require you to study abroad, and I was like, that's amazing. Like US, where you at? But so I definitely miss that a lot too.
Absolutely. I love, Laura, I just love your energy. It's so infectious. I'm so enjoying this. I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, just so you know. Yeah, it's again like all of these things come to mind, and you're like, how do I explain to people why this experience is so important, why I miss it so much, why it's going to be an integral part of my life in the future. So my favorite question, we're always talking about growth, kind of, that self change maybe that you see in yourself versus, before you left versus when you return. So can you tell me a little bit about how you grew professionally, academically, maybe personally, and how you have kind of used that to echo throughout everything that you do from here?
Yes, so I say this a lot. I'm always just like looking at back and I'm like, I am not the same person I was like before I studied abroad. And I'm like so thankful for that. Like I feel like study abroad was that what I needed to kind of like push me off and like get me motivated and like kind of like give me a purpose, as cliche as that could sound. But
Beautiful.
like we talked about before, definitely the like being able to be more openly outgoing with people and not being as scared to like voice my opinion or like talk to a complete stranger, which I probably wouldn't, I've never done before. But going abroad, I think one of the biggest like things that everyone kind of realizes is that in basically every situation, if you feel a certain way or you feel awkward or you're like scared to do something, there's probably tons of people there that feel the same way. So whenever I feel uncomfortable, I just remember that I'm like, someone here is feeling this too. I just have to find them and we can like get through this together.
Bond.
So
Yeah.
definitely that, just getting me to like push out of my shell and gaining that confidence from it. And then I would say academically, a really big thing that I got from study abroad is I kind of solidified what I wanted to do with my major. So within my major, I'm supposed to pick like an emphasis, and most of the classes I took there were business courses, but mostly like marketing oriented and things. So I now have an emphasis in marketing. So that kind of helped me steer like the direction of like my career and everything. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like it solidified that for me. And yeah, so now I'm a lot like, now that I have to graduate and like find a job, like I have a much clearer idea than I did before. And I was like, you know, I'll do something after this, but now I have more of an idea.
More direction. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent answers. And as a marketing major, it's probably a really good asset because you are an alumni ambassador. So it's your job to constantly help students feel encouraged, supported. If they're on the fence about, you know, pursuing a semester abroad, you're kind of their guru, right? Like to help them take this big leap. So are there words, is there a phrase, is there something that you have in your back pocket where you're like, yeah, this is what I tell them, and it, you know, it helps them make that decision?
I would say just talk to people who have gone to abroad, because I was scared before leaving too, because I was like, why isn't everyone doing this? Like I couldn't see the wall that was holding people back. So I was like, I'm missing something. I must be. So I
The
talked to a
invisible
lot of
wall.
returnees.
Yes.
Exactly. So I talked to a bunch of returnees, and I realized that like no one ever regretted studying abroad. Everyone had positive feedback. They were like, oh my God, I'm so excited you want to do this. Like, go for it. And I realized like a lot of people regretted not taking the chance and going abroad. They were like, that was the biggest regret I had in my college career. So I was like, I definitely don't want to have that. So I just talked to people and got so much positive feedback that I was like, I want to be able to give that positive feedback. And now I do get to give it because it was amazing.
Yeah. I think of like you guys as alumni ambassadors, and like you're in like a relay race and you're just like passing that torch to like the next person in line. And you're all just, you're great at what you do, and it's awesome. But yeah, there's definitely, I know when I wanted to study abroad, my reservation was like, well, I don't speak the language. Like, how am I going to get around? And like the second I got there, I think maybe 3 weeks in, like similar to you, I got on the wrong like metro, got off at the wrong metro stop, and I had to figure it out. And after that, it was just like every Band-Aid that I ripped off after that was just, couldn't even feel it anymore. You just, it kind of becomes a part of your system. Do you know how long it took you to maybe stop feeling like, not that you were feeling like a local after this, but start feeling like you were in a routine and like, okay, this is my home now? And
I would say definitely the beginning, you definitely feel like a tourist because you're like, I need to do all the typical things. But probably I'm maybe like a few weeks to like a month, like a couple weeks, I would say. And then I was like, ooh, like I don't need a map to go around anymore. I can just walk there and I'll know where I'm going. And I know what like this means. And if a sign says this, I definitely should not be going that way. Like everything like that. One cool thing about Barcelona too is that it is in Catalonia, so all the signs and everything are in Catalan. So I was like this is fine. I understand most of Spanish, and now there's another language. So that was definitely a curveball that I did not think was going to be all over the city, but it was really cool to kind of learn about that and learn about how Catalan is such a like still immersive part of their culture. So that's something I didn't really expect, and kind of a curveball. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll learn some Catalan to understand how to live here.
It's not your typical textbook Spanish, but that's what's kind of cool about it is you go to these other regions within Spain and it's like, that is your textbook Spanish. You can use what you know. And then on top of that, you come back and you're like able to practice the Catalan too. I don't think you'll encounter too much of that in the US, but every time you go back to Barcelona, I'm sure you'll go back someday. Did that ever happen to you where, like, rewind a little bit here, did you ever, when you first got there, get off on the wrong metro stop, or like have to figure out like something where you're like, okay, I wasn't expecting this, but now I have to find my way out of this brown paper bag, and I'm comfortable doing so?
Yes, I would say not really getting off of the wrong spot, but I think one thing a lot of people mess up is taking the wrong metro, because like for every metro, like let's just say the blue metro, there's one way goes to this like last stop. That's how they identify it, and then one way goes to this last stop. So I think in the beginning it was really just reading all the signs correctly, making sure that I wasn't just going any like randomly, like being able to orient myself like deep down underground through these metros and knowing like, oh, the place I'm going, I have to figure out what direction it's in before I get on the metro, because once you're on, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get off and take the other one. So I think that's
flashbacks right now.
Most people the first day were like, oh yeah, I took the right metro, but in the wrong direction. So I was like, it happens to the best of us. It's fine.
It's a little different than when you come to class and you're late and the professor's like, why are you tardy? And you're like, oh, I overslept. It's like, oh, I got on the wrong metro. And they're like, yeah, it's okay. It happens. Like they're used to hearing that. Awesome. I'm going to just scroll back, see if we had any questions. And if not, I have a few more for you. So no worries. 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦 says, hi, Laura, with heart faces. I probably said that a little wrong. Charlize, there you go. I said Charlize. My goodness. All right. I need more tapas. Need some energy. Let's see here. We answered that question. We answered this one already, your favorite type of tapas, but do you have like a number 2 favorite?
I would say the Spanish omelets. I'm a kind of brunch girl, so being able to have a Spanish omelet like any time of the day, I was like, I don't even feel bad about this. Like dinner, I'm having Spanish omelet, breakfast, Spanish omelet, lunch, Spanish omelet. So
Hannah Harper, and I agree with you, Hannah Harper. She says, thanks so much. I need your energy. Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, let's see. Speaking of energy, Spain's a pretty big cafe culture, coffee culture. Did you find yourself participating in any of those places?
I would say yes. Like a lot of times for lunch, I would just go out of our school, and there were plenty of like cafes and stuff around. So me and my friend would just pick a different one each time and go there and enjoy like a little pastry before going to class, or like, and trying little different snacks each time. So definitely there's cafes everywhere. Like I feel like I would never go to the same one twice, because why would you do that? There's so many. So I definitely was always changing it up and trying new ones and finding new little things that were good there. So I really like that.
Perfect. Yeah, and you get to practice your Spanish, your Catalan as well. So all good things. All right, I have a few questions for you. We do this little thing called speed round, lightning round. It needs a new name. All right, so I'm just going to give you a word, and you're just going to come up with the first thing associated with that word. And lucky us, our favorite, Laura, the first one is food.
Spanish omelet.
There you go. Oh, I'm so hungry right now. All of this talk of tapas, like it's amazing. Transportation.
Efficient.
Oh, I love that. I don't think there's a better type of way to describe transportation, and if it is actually efficient, we're good. What do you prefer? I'll ask you this: the Italian metro system in Rome or that of Barcelona?
Barcelona 100 times. Much more efficient in my opinion.
On time. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. If you're not a prompt person, Italy might be the country for
Yeah.
you. But I never was, so it worked. Locals.
Ooh, very inviting,
Oh,
I would
love
say.
that. Very good. Did you have like one interaction with a local that kind of stays with you that is relative to that inviting notion?
Ooh, yes, I would say a lot of people thought I was Spanish when I was there, and I was like, okay, so I'd say like I'm Italian technically, but okay. But one time outside of my class, I was like leaving to like go home, and this little old man stops me, and he's like, oh, like, can I ask you something? And I was like, yeah. And then me like with Spanish, I was like, it was one of my first interactions too, so I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna understand what he's saying, but okay. So he was like, where are you from? Are you from? I think he asked me if I was from Salamanca, but I was like, no. I was like, I'm Italian. And he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, can I take classes here? And I was like, oh. And I was like, I go ask. I don't know.
I have no
so
idea.
I like showed him where the like main office was, and I was like, go ask there. Like, they're really nice. And so I actually found out that like they had like there were always a lot of elderly in one of our campuses, and I guess they like actually took classes there. Like they were all there together, and I was like, this is so cute. They would be watching movies, so I guess he knew where he was going. He was correct. So I really liked that interaction. I was like, oh, how sweet.
Look at that. She's helping the locals, and she's not even a local, guys. See what study abroad does to you? It gives you this energy and this confidence that like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Do I? Questionable. I love it. We have another question before we continue with our lightning round. Did you get to know your resident director? Our resident director staff is awesome, but if you can just tell us a little bit about your personal relationship with them, maybe some of the excursions they took you on, some of the interactions with that. Yeah, take us back to Spain.
Yes, so Irma is the resident director there. She is amazing. She is so sweet. And honestly, all the staff there is like, I actually felt kind of sick at a certain point. So like they told us like, if you ever feel sick and need to go to the doctor, just let us know. And they literally came to like pick me up. Like they told me like where to meet them, and then they walked me to the doctor's office. They stayed there with me. They like walked me back. I think I had to get like something at a pharmacy, so she showed me where to go, and they were so nice. I was like, this is so nice. This is like having parents here, even though I'm all alone. And actually at a certain point, our fridge broke or something weird happened a weekend where literally all of me and my roommates were all out of like Spain. We were all traveling, and our fridge like randomly broke, and we were like, oh my God, none of us are there. Like our food is gonna go bad. But literally like the staff there is amazing. We came back and there was a brand new fridge there. All our food was moved into the new fridge. Nothing had like gone bad. So we were like, oh, this is like so nice. Like they're always there. Like even if we just stop by after classes to the office to like ask like, oh, we want some like ice cream, where should we go? And they would like tell us good places. And so they were so nice. Like definitely one of the best things was having them there and knowing that if anything goes wrong, if I feel uncomfortable with anything, I have someone I can go complain to, and they will help me out.
Vent to, not necessarily complain, but yes. Oh my gosh. And I think one of the things that's really worth saying about our resident director staff, and if you guys are tuning into these, every Wednesday we do a different resident director live, so you get to kind of meet them before you even go on the program, which is really awesome. They do a really good job of like straddling the line between like being an informant, letting you guys know where things are, how to do things, kind of, you know, being that guidance, but also letting you be independent and figuring it out for yourself. And they're always there if everything just, you know, doesn't work out for you. But they're really good at like not hand holding to the point where you feel like mom and dad are there all the time, but they definitely do a good job of letting you kind of hone your independence too. And a lot of them, they'll stay in touch with you thereafter too. They all have, I think, Instagram handles via our AIFS portal, all that good stuff. So they want to see where you guys end up, how you use this experience, you know, from here on out. So we love our resident director staff. I don't know if Inma is with us. I saw one of the AIFS handles, but I'm not certain. So hi, Inma, if you are here, great to see you. Awesome. Back to the lightning round. We did locals, language.
Ooh, diverse because of the two languages.
That's a good one. Yes, because you're kind of, again, the Spanish and the Catalan. Did you hear them pretty equally, or more so the Catalan in Barcelona?
So people will only like speak Spanish. They greet themselves in Catalan. I forgot what the phrase is right now, but they greet themselves in Catalan, like greetings and salutations are in that, but no one really speaks it. Like it's more of a written language almost.
Okay.
So I know that's like students there all learn it like from like elementary school, and so they read a lot of Catalan, write in Catalan, but no one really did, like, at least to me, people just spoke Spanish to me, if not even English, if I couldn't understand. So yeah, I never encountered anyone who like spoke only Catalan. So, but all the like street signs and everything were in Catalan.
Yeah, very traditional. Excellent. Favorite city? We might know the answer to this one already. I don't know.
Ooh, I would still say Barcelona. Barcelona has a special place in my heart.
Excellent. No, that is the whole point, right? To enjoy the city that you're studying in. Landmarks.
Sagrada Familia, my neighbor.
Yeah, your neighbor. I think that's awesome. That is so wild. Architecture.
Ooh, Gothic. The Gothic architecture is so cool.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's not something that you will see on this side of the pond. And did I ever say architecture? Did
Yes.
I did. Okay. One word to describe your, sorry, losing it. And my mind is in like tapas and food and whatnot. I'm very hungry. One word to describe your entire semester abroad. It's a tough one, I know.
I would say indescribable.
There you go.
There's too much.
I like that.
Too much to say.
One word to describe, and she goes with indescribable. I can't. It still counts. It's awesome. Very good. Well, Laura, I'm going to scroll back one more time. I don't think I saw any other questions, so I will let you go here in just a second. But are there any closing remarks or anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye for today?
I would probably say if anyone is watching and on the fence, just go for it. Like, this is your sign. I'm here. I'm the magical fairy who's telling you
Laura.
to study abroad.
Excellent.
Exactly.
We love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. You're an absolute joy. Hopefully we get to see you again soon. Enjoy your quarantine in Italy. I'm low-key jealous, but just remain safe, and we will see you soon, Laura. Adios.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.